before we start going, can we have her move to the right?
Okay, yes. And would you mind passing these around, please?
Sure.
Not you, him.
Sorry.
Would you pass them to him, please? Thank you. Thank you. Is that good?
Yes.
All right. Okay, thank you very much for coming today. I'm attorney Gloria Allred, and to my left is our client, Amy-Erin Blakely, and to my right is my law partner, Nathan Goldberg. I'll be making a statement, then Ms. Blakely will be making a statement, then we'll take a few questions. Today we have filed a gender discrimination and retaliation lawsuit on behalf of Amy-Erin Blakely against the Devereaux Foundation, Inc. Ms. Blakely is a former employee and was employed by them from September 1996 until October 28, 2009. She has a BA and an MBA. During her employment with them, Ms. Blakely, age 43, received numerous promotions and raises. At the time of her termination, she was Assistant Executive Director of the Devereaux Foundation, overseeing approximately 900 employees and staff. She had held that position for approximately 6 years. Ms. Blakely alleges that she was told that other employees complained that they could not concentrate in meetings because all they saw were her, quote, big breasts, end quote. She also alleges that someone in management talked about how large her breasts were and that she needed to, quote, hide them, end quote. She also learned that she had been nicknamed, quote, big titty baby, end quote. That someone in management wanted to sit next to her, quote, so that he can look at her big titties, end quote. And that he, quote, loves big titties, end quote. She was also told that a high-level executive asked to play tennis with her so that he could watch her in her tennis skirt and, quote, see her big titties bouncing around, end quote. On another occasion, a false allegation was circulated that Ms. Blakely attended a board meeting where she was a presenter with her, quote, boobs hanging out, end quote. In fact, she had worn a brown turtleneck sweater and a jacket to the meeting. On still another occasion, she was told by management, quote, you have very large breasts. So does my wife, and I have talked to her about you and your breasts, end quote. She was also told that, quote, you should wear loose-fitting clothes or try to hide your breasts because they are too distracting, end quote. In addition, she alleges that she was told that she was, quote, too sensual, end quote, for further advancement to the position of executive director. Ms. Blakely was shocked by that comment since the Devereaux Foundation had no written dress code policy, and she always dressed in a professional manner, as she is dressed today. Because of being forced to endure continuing sexual harassment, discriminatory comments, and behavior, Ms. Blakely filed an internal grievance in March 2009. Rather than the complaint being taken seriously, however, Ms. Blakely was reprimanded. When the discrimination, sexual harassment, and retaliation worsened, she filed a second grievance. Finally, she was terminated on October 28, 2009, the day after she filed her second grievance. As a result, we have filed a lawsuit today in the Circuit Court of the 9th Judicial Circuit for Orange County, Florida, case number 10CA24564, number 37. We allege a violation of Ms. Blakely's civil rights, specifically the right to be free of gender discrimination, a sexually hostile workplace, and retaliation for asserting her rights. We are seeking compensatory damages as permitted by law, punitive damages, and attorney's fees. No woman in the workplace should be forced to suffer sexually discriminatory and disparaging comments about her breasts or their size. It's also a violation of the law to prevent a woman from advancement because she is considered, quote, too sensual, end quote. Amy-Erin Blakely is demonstrating a great deal of courage and speaking out publicly about what she suffered on the job. She is doing that so no other woman will have to suffer what she had to endure while she was employed at Devereaux Foundation. It is 2010. It is long overdue for women to be judged on their merits rather than the size of their breasts. And we also have Florida co-counsel. That's Jill S. Schwartz and Associates. And now I'd like to present Amy-Erin Blakely.
It was very humiliating to know that senior members of our management team would focus on my breasts as opposed to my performance on the job. It made me feel as though I should be ashamed of the way I look and of my body. When certain individuals on the management team were in town that I had reason to believe had made remarks about my figure, I would use the side doors and hide from those managers because I did not want to be subjected to more humiliation. No woman should ever be subjected to such sexist and derogatory remarks. I am a highly competent professional woman, and I asked only to be judged on my merit. Instead, I seem to be judged on my looks and the size of my breasts. That is wrong, and that is why I've decided to file my suit. I refuse to be a victim of the Devereaux Foundation any longer. Instead, I choose to stand up for my rights, and in doing so, I hope to improve the lives and working conditions of women.
We'll be happy to take a few questions.
Can you tell us what the Devereaux Foundation is and where exactly it's based? I'm assuming Florida.
Yes, but they are also located in California, you can tell.
They're based in 11 different states. The Devereaux Foundation is the country's largest not-for-profit provider of children's mental health and developmental disability services, and they're headquartered in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
And where did you work?
In Devereaux, Florida.
And they are also located in Santa Barbara, California.
You tell them how many employees they have in Florida.
In Florida.
Approximately 1,100 employees in Florida.
And what did you do in your role as executive or your position? What did you do?
I had various positions, but my last position for the past 6 years prior to my termination was the Assistant Executive Director of Operations. I ran all of the operations and the programs and services, all of the revenue-generating programs for the foundation in Florida.
In charge of 900 employees.
Mm-hmm. Gloria said that.
Is this the first time that you face this sort of discrimination?
Yes.
Did it make working on a day-to-day basis difficult? Talk to us about that.
It was really a nightmare because every day I had great trepidation and fear that I was going to either be humiliated, harassed, or lose my job because of the way I looked, not based on my performance at all. My performance was exemplary.
How long did this actually go on for?
The remarks.
Remarks started around 2003 and worsened in 2008. And the retaliation began around 2008 and lasted for about 1.5 years.
And she alleges that the remarks began roughly around the time that she was promoted to this top-level executive position of Assistant Executive Director, and that was in 2003.
So you had different bosses at that time, a different supervisor, and he or she or the few people were the ones who were harassing you?
We're just, at this point, identifying the harassers as members of management.
Did you express to them how unhappy they were making you feel with their comments?
Yes.
And how did they respond?
Well, you filed 2 grievances.
I filed 2 grievances, one in the spring of 2009 and then one in the fall of 2009. The first one was inappropriately investigated, and I was reprimanded for that. The second grievance was followed by me being terminated the next morning.
This is gonna sound a little indelicate, but was there any change in the size of your breasts before the comments began?
No.
So they're as they've always been?
Yes.
And you said they escalated in 2008. Did anything happen in terms of your position at that time that coincided with the escalation?
We had some management changes at that time.
What kind of management changes?
I don't think you want to go into that. No, she's not going to
Yeah, I think we'll
elaborate
just-
on that.
When you said you were terminated and rehired?
No.
No.
You were terminated and this is why you're now coming forward to?
Yes.
She was terminated the day after she filed the second grievance.
Right. Is there a California connection, just because we're all local media?
The California connection is that they are also located in Santa Barbara, California, but more importantly, we are going to be lead counsel on this case, which is filed this morning in Florida.
Are you currently living in Florida or working in Florida?
I live in Florida.
Have you been able to find new employment?
No.
Have you had the opportunity to speak with any other employees that may have had similar experiences, or do you believe you were singled out?
Well, we're not at this time going to comment on what our evidence is in this case.
May I ask about what size your breasts are?
You may ask, but she's not going to answer the question. Thank you for the question.
Was there
You
any
can ask what size mine are. And I also won't answer the question.
Was there any sort of progressive discipline going forward or going back that your employer could use as a rationale to discharge you?
I had exemplary performance my whole career there. I was never once reprimanded. There is nothing in my file that would suggest that I had anything but the utmost professional performance.
During your employment, you were promoted how many times?
Approximately 8 times in 13 years.
And how many raises, roughly?
8 or 9.
So what was the nature of your discharge? What was the cause? What did your employer say the reason for your discharge was?
Well, whatever they said, we would argue is a pretext for unlawful retaliation on account of the fact that she had filed grievances protesting what we allege is unlawful sexual harassment.
But can you tell us what they did tell you was the reason for your termination?
That wasn't in line with the philosophy. You can, the philosophy.
I was told that I was not on the same page or did not have the same philosophy as that of the foundation.
The comments started in 2003, so why didn't you file a grievance earlier?
I was fearful of retaliation. I wanted to advance. I wanted to be judged on my merit, and I felt that I was eligible for advancement.
Are you married? Do you have children?
I'm not going to comment on that.
Okay. Thank you very much for coming. We appreciate it.